start with this and fast. Did anybody read yours?
I got a very interesting question. Actually, two very interesting questions. The first one is, do you believe, are you equating a conscious smoker dying to an innocent victim of terrorism? And wouldn't you think that complacency to terrorism encourages more attacks? So I guess that's actually two questions. But the point I was raising was not to indicate that I believe that they're exactly the same, because they aren't. Although both died perhaps because of some actions of their own, some of others. The point being is that there is risk. And some risks we accept, some risks that we don't understand, and some risks we have no control over. 100 years ago, there was a risk that you might actually cut yourself and come down with an infection that would kill you. You had no antibiotics. You had a risk, perhaps, that you would be attacked by a bear. That was a risk. And we accepted those. Those were part of the frontier mentality and where we had to go. We cannot remove all risks. And the fact that we are so afraid of everything now that has some risk associated with it was really the point of my concern. Do I believe that complacency to terrorism encourages more attacks? There is some indication that ignoring them actually makes some of them stop, because if they do induce terror, that's why they're being done. We have done more damage to ourselves in reaction to some of the 9/11 incidents than the incidents themselves did. And I guess I'll leave it at that.
Should I go now?
You should go now. Thank you. I mean, you should answer your question. We don't want you to leave.
Mr. Richard Bader from Parsippany, New Jersey writes. This is a little long, but it's a very interesting question. I have a friend who was investigated by the FBI because he purchased large amounts of gunpowder. He used it to reload shotgun shells, which he used for skeet and trap shooting. My friend considered this an appropriate curiosity for law enforcement to have. This strikes me as an example of pattern matching / data mining that provides useful data despite matching a constitutionally protected legal activity. I wonder how Mr. Harper would respond to this, or other panelists. That's my saving grace.
Actually, I don't know how you respond to it.
I'd like to know how I would respond to it. It is an interesting question. It seems to me that yeah, you could put this in the realm of pattern matching. It's probably based on assumption rather than research that purchasers of gunpowder go out and do criminal things with it. It's probably not validated by actual research, because I doubt that most criminals actually go and buy the gunpowder that they use to do bad things with in raw form. But I guess this points to the sort of crucial question in pattern analysis, link analysis, or data mining, which is what are you justifying with the finding you're making? I talked about the mother who hears a car tire squeal and grabbing the child's hand. Makes sense. Picking the child up and throwing it over the fence for its safety does not. So if law enforcement came to the front door and knocked on the front door and said, "We're aware that you bought a lot of gunpowder. Are you using it to refill shotgun shells?" And the person said, "Yes, I am. I'll show you I'll take you to my shop and show you where I do that." And law enforcement went away again. That's not very objectionable. It's a little bit objectionable that law enforcement would get that information in the first place. But a store owner could choose to share that kind of information. If law enforcement used the purchase of gunpowder as a reason to start tapping the phones of this person without letting them know, that's a different question entirely. I do think that this is probably not a good, not well substantiated use of pattern matching. But the most important question is what they used it as a basis to do. Other questions?
That was great. I think it hits on the exact right thing. Is it an actual pattern, or is it a hypothesis that just makes sense because you're scared? that's one of the, could be from a security perspective, that's what to look at. And there's the whole privacy issues of whether they should have the data, but I think he's right, I think it's a false pattern.